Imagine working in an environment where every shift brings a horrifying risk to your life, and especially to your health and safety, where poor conditions are the norm rather than the expectation. Mainly hidden from the public view, unsafe working conditions is currently one of the main issues affecting millions of workers worldwide, specifically in the sectors of manufacturing, construction, and lastly, mining. Prioritising safety currently in Australia and across the world, and these industries and beyond, is currently secondary rather than a primary, and therefore millions and millions of workers are risking their lives for one goal: to provide for the world, rather than prioritising their health. Exploring domestically and internationally, we will undertake ways we can impact our growing issues on unsafe working conditions and ways we can start to address it for the future. Improving the unsafe working conditions domestically in Australia many face on a regular basis requires a more demanding approach in order to prioritise safety rather than the compensation many companies rather make their primary goal. In order to tackle this sort of issue involves both strengthening the oversight of many industries, enforcing regulatory framework. Agencies like WorkSafe Australia should be given more authority when having to perform inspections and enforcing penalties, rather than only going into the workplace when reported incidents are brought to authorities' attention. And when they are reported, this is what it looks like. In 2021 to 2022, the Australian Bureau of Statistics evaluated work-related incidents and identified 497,300 of the 14.1 million working population who have worked in the last 12 months who have reported work-related incidents. And these sorts of figures have been predicted to increase if we don't start to make domestic changes instantly, but rather stop allowing for companies to prioritize what they think is the best thing for their companies, which is money over the safety. For instance, the İlek mining incident that took place in Turkey is a prime example of companies prioritizing their profit over their workers' safety, where previous issues never got reported, leading to a landslide burying 9 miners and killing 3. Targeting companies who don't prioritize safety is something that needs to be addressed. Enforcing higher sanctions and responding quicker to breaches of protocols is a must. To firstly deter other companies who believe not enforcing safety is the right decision, and secondly, set an example for new companies that are entering our working community, specifically in our high risk environments such as our manufacturing environment, our mining environment, and our construction environment, where over time we see more and more industries coming to life. Internationally, unsafe working conditions remain a silent crisis, endangering and jeopardizing the health and the lives of people and revealing many failures that the public eye don't see. Enabling the global labour standards that an international body, for instance, the International Labour Organization, the ILO, that creates higher safety standards that countries can choose to adapt to, needs to take more of a primary approach in all working conditions, and in saying this, pushing for more recognition. According to the ILO, work-related accidents causes roughly about 2.3 million fatalities globally per year. This figure shows us that workplace injuries can cause more than just the minor injuries or the temporary issues such as shutting down a business, but rather can lead to even more extensive issues such as what the figures highlight: death. Whilst our incidence levels continue to rise, so does how many workers getting hurt and how many choose not to report these incidents. Providing external training run by the international organizations can limit how many hazards we see within our high-risk working companies. In saying this, extensive training should be implemented so we can prepare all workers for the worst, and therefore introducing mandatory training before workers are thrown in the deep end, untrained in that certain field. For example, if a malfunction happens on a construction site, those who have extensive training can take lead and make sure everyone around them is safe or is guided to safety. And this should be the expectation going into the future. Empowering safety training allows employees to take more ownership when it comes to reporting hazards. The struggles of reporting many hazards comes from the ideas of being labelled as troublemakers, which leads to workers hiding in a shell because they are afraid of the consequences if they have the decency to speak up, such as termination of their contracts the people around them's contracts, and also shutting down the business as a whole. Overall, addressing the issues of unsafe working conditions needs to be a matter of compliance, but rather the norm that helps the dignity and the safety of workers worldwide. By implementing harsher sanctions for companies who don't take ownership of their mistakes and rather endure the compensation that they receive over safety needs to be held more accountable to allow for deterrence to be showcased coming into the future of our working industry. Additionally, pushing for our domestic and international organisations who produce legislation to help keep everyone safe needs to be given more of a priority. And finally, specialised training targeting different types of hazards also needs to be a primary addition to our future. Pushing workers into the deep end of our high-risk working conditions can lead to even more incidents and prevalence statistics rising, and also our fatality rates, and can lead to incidents like the iliac mine that crumbled in Turkey. Overall, the need to push for safer working conditions is a must when trying to evolve our working world. Thank you.